Hi, this is Michael Hurley from Ghost Galaxy, and you're listening to Archon's Corner.
If you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/Archons Corner. You can get access to the new Z scoring system, as well as listening ad-free. Don't forget, you can find your Archons Corner merch at Spreadshirt.com. All right, guys, what's going on since nobody in my house wants to shut the fuck up? We're going to get $1 for the swear jar. Here you go, JR. Here's my $1. I'll give you $2 for that one because I yelled it. Jesus.
Wow. Actually, you're the word. You cut out.
Oh, well, maybe I only owe you 50 cents. I'm not sure. But what's going on, guys? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined here by, oh no, you were here last week. Never mind. Z's here.
I'm always here. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's not true. And we got our resident PhD, Dr. Sheep.
Hello.
And we've got Choke Show.
Hey, guys.
He's here. Missing Senior Ewok. He is feeling a little under the weather this week, but we will push on. In the name of Keyforge, we shall continue to push on.
Huzzah.
Nobody's got any comments for that. But we had some fun with Keyforge this week, right, Dan? You and I went down to Dice Dojo, had a bit of fun.
We did. Absolutely. Well, you had some fun. You ruined a bunch of people's days.
I did.
Made them regret playing Keyforge. And I played a Wodak.
So, wait. So does that mean, was it Heart of the Forest or was it Pasture Grove? What did you go with, Wookie?
I went with Double Mecha Buoy.
Okay. Oh, that deck. Yeah. That deck's for real.
Yeah, so the thing was is Sheep said don't bring no smoke, so I brought DT. I didn't realize there was no smoke.
Because Wookiee's there isn't such thing as a good deck in DT or AOA, so I can play any deck and it's trash.
That's right.
That's just his opinion.
That's correct.
Although there are plenty of rotten, dirty things in both of those sets.
You're correct.
There's lots of rotten in DT.
Yeah. And he brought our rottiest of it.
What? It's just a double Mecha Buoy deck. Why is everyone complaining?
It does some other things.
It does a few other things. It might have multiple ways to turn the tide for me, so I don't gotta take chains, and it might have a, doorstep to heaven and a whole bunch of steel and shadows. It might be actually a pretty dirty DT deck. It's a DDT, a dirty DT deck. DDDTD.
Isn't that one just suffering from a little C to really be top tier?
It's got C. It has one C card that I can recur multiple times.
What's that card?
It's
whatever the one that allows me. I know the art. We'll get into art in a little bit, but it's the one that lets me put all your cards back into your archives. All your creatures, or all creatures, go back to their owner's archives.
it's the Logos one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but then I've got Theory and is it Theory and Conjecture that allows me? Is that the one that allows me to archive 2 cards of different types into my archive? I've got 2 of those. And then I've got the one that allows me to take a card from my discard pile, play it, and then purge it. Got one of those.
Think twice.
Yeah, think twice. That's the one. So it's got if I need to recur it multiple times, it's got ways to do that. Otherwise, I can pivot and shift if it's playing a deck that's just going to try to outrace me. I can just continue to stash away my doorstep to continue making them go back down to 5. It's my type of deck where I'm just frustrating you and making you think about your life choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite kind.
I do, so you mentioned it was mind over matter, by the way. It finally came to me.
Yeah.
The, put each creature in its archives. It is kind of a weird card. There are moments where I'm like, hey, I can use this to some good effect as C. And there's other moments where I'm like, well, that didn't work well for me at all. It's
a big old discard because I got 3 Ronnies on the board.
Yeah, it's very dependent on what your opponent has, which I think makes it challenging to use.
So the deck suffers from not being able to handle large creatures. Most large creatures suck. So there's no real downside for me in playing it in the deck, because it's just like, oh, you got a table full of Brobnar. They don't do much when they hit the board. So putting them back into your archives, not a big deal.
Well, I mean, it is good against Saurian, right? Because the big Saurian dudes, right? You got the Ludos out, and that's, Ludos and Scutums are common defense.
I've done that before.
Yeah, Mind Over Matter puts them in the archives. You still get that Ember, so it's good in that scenario. But it's not great against Ronnies and Eddies and that sort of thing.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's got ways to get, like I said, to continuously trigger it if I need to. And not only that, I mean, you got some 9 times out of 10, you got some dirty archives now, which is good for me, because that means it's going to slow you down. Because not only is it going to slow you down because you just took, your archives of 6 or 7 creatures. On top of that, if you would like the Tide, take 3 chains and you can take even less cards. I mean, I was playing Ben, I think, at one point in time. Yeah, it was Ben. And he had to take his archives because he needed his cards, and he wasn't drawing, and he needed the Tide. So he was up to like 12, 13, 14 chains. I mean, he was in double-digit chains because he didn't want me to trigger my Mecha Booty.
That can be damaging, for sure.
Did you guys see the silly argument in our Discord?
Oh my God, over Omni?
Mecha Booty. Yes, over the Omni on the Tide, because the Tide rules kind of vaguely say Tide can be used whenever.
If we're going to do a segment on this, are you going to actually read the real rules? Or are you going to actually, because I don't know what they exactly say, but I do understand
basically,
the core of the argument.
Yes, so the way I understand it, and
we're missing a walkbot to read rules.
Z, if you want to get the rules.
We are not going to talk about the segment unless someone's going to read the rules. And no, I'm not looking it up.
I'm not looking it up.
So you have to read the rules for anything we're about to argue about to make any kind of sense.
Just a second. Let me use the Googler.
What rule are you referring to? Because obviously you have something in mind, Z.
Okay, hold on.
The whole argument was about the actual rulebook rule of the Tide.
Right, because the rulebook rule of the Tide says you can do it at any time as an Omni effect.
No, it says during the active player's turn, they may use the ability Omni, raise the Tide, gain 3 chains. This is granted by the game rules and not by a card ability. Unlike most Omni abilities, this ability does not require a player to exhaust a card. I don't know if Archon is updated to the newest rules. Because it says it can be done as many times as you want and any time during your turn somewhere.
So that's enough to get the gist of the argument. So the core argument, which is the rules as intended argument, is that it is a card in play. It says Omni. You can only do it in step 3 when all other Omni actions occur. That is exactly what it was probably designed to do. But
all right, so here's the Tide. Here's what the rules say about the Tide.
Go ahead.
The Tide is a game state represented by the Tide reference card, which is included with some keyforge decks. If one or more keyforge decks used in game includes a Tide reference card, then all players can interact with and be affected by the Tide. The Tide reference can help players track whether the Tide is high or low for them and serve as a reminder that they have access to Omni ability to raise the Tide. At the start of each game, the Tide is neutral, neither high nor low. When either player raises the Tide becomes high for them and low for their opponent. If the Tide is already high for a player, they cannot raise the Tide. During the active player's turn, they may use the ability Omni, raise the Tide, gain 3 chains. This ability is granted by the game rules and not by a game ability, unlike most Omni abilities. This ability does not require a player to exhaust a card. A player can use this ability any number of times in a turn. When a card effect instructs players to raise the Tide, they should rotate the Tide reference card such that the side labeled high Tide is facing them and side facing low Tide is facing their opponent. Card abilities that refer to the Tide are indicated by the icon and the little waves. So,
So
I
obviously
mean,
people were arguing back and forth, but rules as written, the end of the argument is as far as like the actual rules right now at this point in time, the tide, which we've had clarified many times, is not a card. It is a game state. The Omni version of the tide on that tide card is not being exhausted or used in the same way. So technically, you can raise the tide in any window of time because you are not actually exhausting a card.
That has nothing to do with
that
when
has
you
nothing
can
to
use
do with
Omni.
right. Omni
But
can
But
only
it is
be used during
the
step
rules
3.
themselves state it is a not the same kind of omni ability as any other omni
No,
ability.
Right?
We-
No, it says
just
only
says
in the
it
fact
doesn't
that you
exhaust a card.
correct.
It doesn't say anything else. It just doesn't actually exhaust a card. That doesn't mean you can do it whenever. It is clear. They use the word
But
Omni.
it's not a
and
card.
then-
Well, it says
It-
during your turn.
It
right? So
states
it's not
very specifically
specifying-
that it
yeah.
is not a card. You
But it
only
doesn't
exhaust
matter.
cards.
Right.
Like
But nowhere does it say you. They
it's
so they
not a
reuse
card.
the word.
Cheap.
It doesn't matter. They
So do I
reuse
get
the word
to-
Omni that has very specific rules that can only be used in phase 3. Right? They reused a word, changed the rules about it, didn't explain what rules do and don't apply. So it doesn't matter what your argument or my argument is. Neither are them valid because they didn't write enough rules for it to be meaningful.
I mean, we all know what's intended, right?
Well,
all know
but we
what's intended.
don't because people were arguing that that
I-
isn't
I would-
what was intended. And
I would
I'm with
100%
you guys.
will
I think
not
it's crazy.
play in a game where they like the presumption is that you can raise it any time. Like I will not agree
Well,
with
just
that. I will not play in that game. But like as like if someone really wanted to fight, like I don't know, like GG has to answer this, right?
So-
like that they're the responsible for this. But like what's wrong with the card is it shouldn't actually say Omni in my opinion.
Right. I agree 100%.
Like at the end of that argument, that's what I said in the chat. Like, this is not an Omni ability. Omni is a card effect that exhausts the card. That is what it does after use. This is not even a card.
Whoa.
It's not. Stated in many places, the old version of the rules and the new version of rules, it is not a card. It's not affected by Skippy. Therefore, like if it was truly an Omni ability, Skippy would shut it down. We know it doesn't. That's been ruled.
Yeah. Well, so Mogler did
There's a
come
lot
in
in there that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, Mogler did come and say it's going to be fixed in the next rule book, and also clearly it's intended to only be in phase 3. But I was just thinking, like, after Wookiee was playing,
But like that's the thing that I don't know, Sheep. Like, is it?
It's
like
not.
it.
Eamon said that. I mean, like, it
Otherwise-
doesn't matter
otherwise-
what the
That's what he
original.
said.
And I don't. It doesn't matter what the original intent was. It's clear to me that the ruling they're going to put in is it's only going to be a phase 3 effect.
Yeah, we
So-
don't know. FFG's done strange things, right? But I would be.
Oh yeah. Here's
Surprised.
Mogler's response in our chat at some point at the end of the argument. He said, "I agree. The target card and its Omni ability are weird. The intent is clear to me. Use the ability during step 3 of your turn, but the implementation wasn't well executed. The best solution is probably to lean into it and create a new space for cards that both players can use when they are the active player." Like that last part doesn't actually, to me, indicate that he's going towards it being phase step 3 only. But we'll see.
No, well, okay. What that reads to me is they're going to rewrite, and that card's going to get errated from saying Omni to whatever
Something
their
else.
new term is that is multi-people usable. And you're right. Maybe they write it different. I'm just saying, like, after watching Wookiee's games and thinking about it, like, he pretty easily won. Now, nobody brought Super Fire, but just think about that. If every turn, you could just guarantee you had Mekabui if it meant you forged a key. Like, static collapse
Or, like-
away. Same thing. Like, I'm not on check. I don't care. I am essentially on check because I can take the tide before I go to forge and I'm 2 down or 2. Like, it's just, it's absolutely crazy. It means
Well,
taking
someone
the
also
tide
put
away
in
from
chat,
people would be really bad.
put in chat that Medicus Lacus would be good. That that one
Mhm.
artifact that we all said that sucks that makes it +1 or -1.
Yeah,
Static
collection array.
static correction array, that would become amazing. That'd be better than Mecha Booey potentially because of all the above 6 hate.
Yeah, like it would. Maybe it's needed, and it would make that set ridiculously good.
I mean, I don't think it would make it ridiculously good, but I think it would make
it might make it.
I think it would be significantly better than it is now, which is why I was saying at the beginning, like maybe there is space where like that could have been a thing that should be a thing. Like if it literally didn't
why would
say,
why would they print a card that says at the beginning of your turn, if you don't have the tide, take the tide?
I agree. Like, what's the point of tide warp?
There's no point in printing that card. Then I guess it saves
you from
chains.
taking the 3 chains.
You don't take the chains.
Yeah,
I mean that's a thing, and that's also a 2-sided card. If you have the tide, like you lose it constantly too.
Yeah,
right.
There is a triple Mecha Booey double static collection array deck that exists.
I mean, it makes a lot of decks better in DT, and I don't know if it necessarily makes any of them super busted, but you would have a whole lot of decks that are immediately way more competitive than they are right now.
If they can take the tide 30 at the start of their turn.
Yeah.
Turn that way higher.
Well, what gets better?
We just named 3 cards.
Okay, so 3 cards all of a sudden make everything way better? I don't know about
Jinka is the only thing AOA has.
Wow. That's not true.
That's
a fantastic deck, that AOA deck that isn't Genka.
Hey Dan, how many times have you chosen to take that to a major Archon event over anything else you have?
Never.
There you go.
That's not true. He took it to Kansas City 2 years ago.
I've never played it at Kansas City.
Oh
no.
Then someone
other people have played it. It's a good deck, but it's not. It is.
Yeah.
It like it has a big hole, and there's a reason there is a very good deck available to me right now that I'm not spending a bunch of money on, because no deck is 100% right, and the few decks that are close to that, I don't actually enjoy playing, and that's that's my problem. But they're the decks that really seem to be able to deal with everything. They're just not what I enjoy playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nova has one of the best decks in the country right now, and it's abysmal to play that deck, in my opinion. She loves playing it.
Yeah,
I played it. I played it several reps. I won every single game I played with it. I would never want to own that deck because it is very not fun.
Yeah.
And it's very purgy, right? For those who don't know, right? Lots of purging.
Yeah.
Lots of
you
have to. Mm-hmm.
If you think you've played a deck that purges a lot, you don't know. You just don't.
You don't know what you don't know. I don't know.
Don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was intended to be in step 3. That's how it's always. I mean, I guess why else label it Omni?
I mean, poor designers at the time.
Well,
how about this one? Double Mecha Booey, double static collection array with a Medicus Lacus.
Yeah, Medicus Lacus is another one. Like, there's
Medicus Lacus becomes really, really good, right?
Yeah, like there. And Medicus Lacus was what, common? There's decks with tons of them. Yeah. I don't know. I could see it making a significant difference in the set, and it would be better for it.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
So,
honestly, if you literally just removed the word Omni and it said, take 3 chains, raise the tide, the problem is solved. Like, it doesn't even need to have anything next to it.
Well, it
does, is a rules iteration.
Still, we're going to have people that are like, well, at what point in time do I do this?
At any time.
That's if they rule that way. There's no guarantee that they're not going to say, well, it is during.
I mean, they could also remove the word Omni and say step 3, or during step 3.
During step 3, you may take 3 chains to raise the tide.
Yeah, they could add any of those words to the cards instead of Omni. All of these are options to solve it. I think if they can make it open field where it can be done anytime, DT would suck much less.
Well, but what other cards are you do? I mean, there's not how many cards are out there that you're doing anything before you even start doing things, before your forge a key step.
I mean, as far as a play game experience, I just played my Chelonia, but I forgot to raise the tide. Oh, hey, if it's an open field thing, I then raise the tide as in that window and still get the amber. Like, there are things that, like, could help you when you're forgetting things constantly, if it was that way.
Well, you're forgetting things because you're just a bad player.
I mean, like, half of our players are below average, right?
That's how math works.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
How about
you
a
know,
quad Mecha Buoy, double Medicus Lacus deck?
the more Mecha Buoys, the better.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the cards we're talking about are common. Isn't Mecha Buoy? Mecha Buoy is
It's uncommon.
uncommon.
It's
Medicus is common.
Yep.
Collection Array is rare, I think.
It's uncommon.
Okay, yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
a lot of decks. Lots and lots of decks.
Well, plus we're forgetting that apparently Alliance is a thing, right? So
No,
Yep.
it's not.
Not according to Help Treat Yourself. Alliance is live and well.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually.
Yeah, they haven't been watching the voters who don't. Nobody wants to play
I'm
it.
just fucking. Dan, calm down.
No.
No, okay, fair enough. I don't know. I was listening to the last couple of their episodes, and yeah, it was interesting because I saw that Scuzzy Gruen had come back, and Rick, our boy Rick, was on. So I was like, oh, I gotta listen to that one.
Yeah, gotta listen to Rick.
So I listened to that one. You know, it was like one of those things where I don't know. We can talk about my opinion piece later.
Yeah. No, I mean, some people like it. I mean, I'm not.
But we had a ton of fun at Dice Dojo, right, Dan?
Yes, we did.
20 minutes
So what was
later.
the format other than Wookiee Stomp with Mecha Buoy? Like
Archon.
what?
It was just Archon.
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 Yeah. How many
Yeah.
people?
I don't know, like
8
10?
of us. Or 8 of
Okay,
us.
8
10
of
of
us?
us? 8?
8,
10?
8, 10,
Yeah, 8
somewhere
or
in there.
10.
Cloggin
four
was
rounds.
there. It was rounds.
So they actually, they said, we're going to get there at 11. Tournament starts at noon. So I'm like, all right, we'll roll in at like 11:30. Because, we have
Which
a
we
long
did.
drive.
11:32.
And they
is when we got
already started and played the first round because like, oh, we didn't think anybody else would show up.
No.
I made them regret that decision.
I mean,
That way.
it isn't a big deal. Like, they have a bunch of donated prizes, and basically, if you want something, they'll just give you prizes. It's not a big deal. And that's not why we're going. We're going there to play and.
I mean,
see
I got a
people and
sweet
do
prize.
whatever.
I got a Worlds Collide, or was it Worlds Collide?
Oh,
I think it was
yeah.
Worlds Collide alt art deck.
So did my kid, and I
Right.
told him we don't want that.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Was it Tremor?
I'm pretty sure he got
Oh,
Bromar.
yeah, it was bad. It had double NARPs.
Ooh, best
Right.
card in the game right there.
He's jealous.
I'm totally jealous. I didn't even get Brobnar. I closed my eyes. I told him to put the box above my head. I closed my eyes and picked a deck. I think it was Untamed Shadows Star Alliance? Sounds about right.
So was
And
it Hawk or was it the
It
unnatural
was
selection?
Unnatural selection. Double unnatural
Got it.
selection.
Oh, for your alt art. Okay, cool.
Yeah, nice, right? So I had tons of fun. It was nice to get out and actually play some games, IRL, in person. They got a nice setup there. They had a whole bunch of old lady bingo chips, if you guys know what those are. Those little plastic chips that you put on your bingo cards that are see through. So they had a bunch of those for all their other tokens, and that's another topic I want to get into one day. I don't know if we're gonna have time today.
About token, we've talked about tokens like 100 times.
Not those kind of tokens. Just calm down over there.
Wasn't
but
our lost episode about tokens?
maybe I'm not sure.
I think it was. Yeah,
Maybe.
the one we
But
recorded however many years ago. Yeah.
in other related news about organized play, there was a WoW sealed event. You guys know about this?
I knew about it after it happened
I did not get to travel hundreds of miles to go to this WoW sealed event. I'm
on a
really
Tuesday
disappointed.
night.
On a Tuesday night in
Or
Minnesota.
maybe it was a Wednesday night, but yes. It was a weeknight in Minnesota. They're regular at the game center. They run regular events, and they ran one that was WoW sealed, as it turns out. You guys know WoW decks were available?
I did not. Sure, it'll make all the game found pledgers
Z,
happy.
did you get a chance to get some WoW decks?
No, I didn't get a chance to fly up there and buy all the Woodex. I wouldn't have done that.
No,
but there are people that would have.
I don't know. Based on the number we found out that they had, which was only 24. They only had 24 WoW decks, which were just leftovers from Celebration. So it's not like it's some new print run stuff or something that should be going to backers. It's just 24 decks left over from Celebrations. Which, what else did they do with them, really? Because
24 decks that Steven didn't have to package. That would have been
because it's different packing, it's different print run. You can't do that. But I almost think they should have figured out how to make more Celebrations level decks in that packaging and shipped one to all their backers at their cost of sorry, it's so long, but here's something to play with. Because
it's a lot of money.
I don't care. I mean, at this point, whatever. They got way more money than they were expecting, and they have all this money to give cash tournaments. So, spend some money doing PR instead.
Yeah, I wonder how that conversation went. Nobody will ever find out. And then it was
well, wasn't it run at Game Center?
Yeah.
Isn't there a chance that no one at GG even knew that happened?
Well, I mean, isn't the Game Center owned by GG?
But they're across the street now. They moved.
Aren't they in the same building behind them now? I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think they are physically in the same physical space. I do think you would have to leave a building and walk into another building to go from Game Center to the GG quarters right now.
No, I thought they moved in. They bought the rest of the building, and I thought they moved in.
That was my understanding. That's what the Minnesota guy says. They own that whole building Game Center is in, and GG's offices are
in it
next to Game Center.
I thought they bought the space across the way.
That's FFG.
I think Artiforge is next door, and so Artiforge definitely owns that. Well, I say owns. Artiforge is definitely there. I don't know if it's own or lease, and they may or may not have more. But at least when we were there, it did still say Asmodee on the building.
Well, because FFG is still there. They didn't move.
Yeah, there's just 3 guys in a corner crying.
It's just office space, is all it is.
Fine, whatever. They're laughing at every single person that buys a game.
No, they're crying. That can't be a happy place to be anymore.
FFG?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from word on the street and what we've heard from ex-employees, it's not.
We don't even know if we actually make games anymore. We just stick Cthulhu theme on things.
What's open source IP right now? Stick it on a board game.
Or Star Wars.
Or Star Wars, yeah. I was so tempted. So being such a huge Star Wars fan, I was so tempted. So tempted. And then I realized FFG was doing something with it. I'm like, why am I going to spend all that money for a game that's going to go to crap in 2 years?
Tempted to what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
They came out with a new Star Wars game. It's another I don't know if it's a living card game or exactly what it is. It's what they're calling a deck building game. So I'm
out next.
I'm a Star Wars nerd.
Building.
I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I'm sitting here in my Wookiee bathrobe. No joke. Got my Wookiee bathrobe on. I was so tempted, but I didn't. So. But let us know how you guys felt about that. You happy that you got the opportunity to get all those decks? Yay, nay? Either one.
Star Wars, the deck building game.
Decks. Well, yeah.
That's literally what it's called. Star Wars, the deck building game.
That's exactly.
You don't actually play a card game. You just build a deck.
So, but it's in card form. I don't know. I'm sure it has far too many tokens like most FFG games, so it's actually not a card game anymore. Now it's just a board game as everything else
with cards
that has cards attached to it, right? And you can put another thing for them to give more mats away with. So Is Drascore back yet? No, Drascore is not back. So let's move on to the next one. And it's kind of funny because I have the two people who don't care about this. The art on the cards. So recently...
where did this even come from besides you wanted to start some shit?
Well...
What? Just Wookiee derived?
Just Wookiee derived. So recently I had a Discord chat with a bunch of people from my like old LGS. We're talking like 2005. And we were kind of just shooting the breeze, having some fun. And kind of like, oh, what are you guys playing? What are you doing? And I told them, well, we're doing the Keyforge thing. You know, we got the podcast rolling. And they're like, oh, isn't that a game for kids? And it kind of took me aback because a lot of people thought that it was a child's game. And everyone went, you know, it was something that interests me, but the art's just too, and a lot of people said this, and I'm not talking one or two people. We had like
I want to see a screenshot of this Discord chat.
Well, you know,
because I don't want to see the pictures they're sharing with each other because this is a bunch of creepy dudes.
It is, but
who want dirty art cards.
It's not dirty art cards. I think
there already white, black, V something that's full of half naked cartoon girls or something?
All right. So here's where it came from. They said that the art was too cartoony. And they thought it was more for children. Now, when I say adult art, I'm not talking after dark, you know, anime chicks in bikinis. I'm saying move more towards like the magic realm, where it's a little more, you know, it's not as cartoony. It's not as Scooby-Doo-ish. I don't know where, you know, I say adult art and everyone's like, oh, you want porn on your cards. No, that's not what I said at all.
I mean, we have been
Then say you want gore.
I want a what?
If that's what you want. If you want gore, then ask for gore.
I don't necessarily want gore. I just want something more, like I said, something more. I'm a 36-year-old man. Something that's more 36-year-old man. You know, the like art, like I don't know, like if you do look at a Keyforge card, yeah, they are a little cartoony. I know this matters not to Sheep and to Z, because Z until about 4.5 days ago didn't know these cards had art.
I mean, it matters to me. I play this game with my kid.
Yeah, I mean, but if it had a magic style artwork, would that stop you from letting your kid play it?
No, because magic wouldn't.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is I want it to be a more, like, when I say adult, I'm not saying put some tits on it. What, honey? My wife's flagging me down. What can I do for you, baby?
Like, I stepped away for a moment. I just sat back down and heard that.
Not cool. Yeah, no, but because everyone heard adult and automatically thought I'm thinking, you know, let's get you know, after dark with it. No, that's not the case at all. But, you know, like a little more, and not gore either. Like if there's gore on the card, there's gore on the card, but something a little more, I don't know, age appropriate. Does that sound right?
You're talking to a bunch of guys who are potentially watching.
That's the thing. I think
He-Man Revelations on Netflix. Like, what is age appropriate?
Yeah, I think Ketzer puts it the best way. More realism.
Yeah,
it is whimsical, the current art.
I don't know what's whimsical. Like, I don't look at Keyforge art and go whimsical.
Maybe not whimsical.
Nothing is whimsical. That I'm. That's the word Joel LaPasta used, or maybe it was Lokacar. I don't know, or D House. One of the three. Somebody said whimsical, and I'm like, I don't. When I look at a Keyforge card, I don't get whimsical. You know what I get when I look at a Keyforge card, especially after they said that? Like, I went out and I looked at some cards. I got very Scooby-Doo.
There is some goofiness. That is true. And you know, it's such like, in general, I'm not a big fan of goofiness in art, like board games, card games, whatever. I don't know. I do feel like it works for Keyforge.
But is that just because that's what we started with, and you don't know any, you don't know any different, or? Like, if there was a massive art
remember-
shift, would you be like, nope, not playing a game no more?
No, but I think there's, because we love the game, right? But I think it's more about like who. So for what? Keitzer says some people never grow out of their edgy teen phase. Yeah, that's the Wookiee. But I do think, like, for an art style, there's folks that it's going to be neutral for. There's folks it's going to attract, and there's folks it's going to detract. Right? So I do think this style, the current style, doesn't have a huge amount of, at least for me, it doesn't feel like a huge detractor. I guess I don't really know what people overall like. I do know, like, some of the, like, you said more adult, not,
Yeah, I'm not
Triple X or
talking about,
anything, but-
I'm not talking like, let's put some Triple X image. If I want to do that, I can do that on my own time. I can
like
print out a whole
Grimdark or something.
Grimdark,
Right? Like,
right.
Grimdark is
Yeah.
a thing that some people really like, and so that's almost too much the other way for me. Like, Grimdark, sometimes I like it, but sometimes it feels like the opposite of the goofiness, like the over-the-top goofiness. It's like the over-the-top darkness. Like,
Because I feel
there
like
is
if you're going to
only
go over the top goofy,
pain.
everyone needs to be over the top goofy.
yeah, and I don't know. For me personally, I feel like Keyforge is a reasonable mix. I wouldn't have, if you had just described the art style to me, I don't know that I would have said that. But I mean, this is all personal opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, and the art style is all personal opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, when I'm talking to, about 15 people and they're all going, yeah, it's kind of,
15 people.
what's that?
15 people, huh?
Like I said, about a dozen and a half, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a huge sample size, right? But
Z, I can't
but
get you a
you're-
screenshot from yesterday. I'm sorry, my guy. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Uh-huh.
If I could jump in my time pod, I would for you, but I can't.
You
I
said
know
Discord.
what?
It's still there.
What do you mean?
Mhm.
Nothing.
Oh, it
Never
is
mind.
still there. Never mind. You're right. I can get it for you. I got you. I can't get, it's not much of a chat, but if you want it, I can get it for the 3 lines that are in there. This wasn't a type chat. This was we all talked. Anyway.
So I'm actually interested. So I think none of us are artists, but Keitzer has some art skills.
Oh.
I'm curious. Like, is there a name, a genre? Like, what would describe the Keyforge art? Is there a word or no? Just cartoony, slightly cartoony. It's not like cartoony, but it's a little cartoony. It's a little goofy. It's
cartoony.
I said whimsical, but yeah, I don't.
There's some cards that aren't cartoony.
Yeah,
but I would say a majority of them are.
I do remember before the game came out, when I heard there was going to be Mars in it, I was like, what? Like, and I saw some, whatever image of the, the green Martian. I was like, what? But then I pretty quickly was like, you know what? This works for me. I like it.
The Mars is fine. I think Mars going with little green men because it's very standardized.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Like, it was just a question that arose in my head. Going, does art drive people away from going on a game?
It could.
And
I think it does. I think it drives away. It drives too.
Does.
I mean, there's probably one board game that, because the art was so cool, pushed me over the edge to actually buy it. It's a game called Gloom of Killforth. Now, maybe this is the type of art that you're looking for. Actually,
Probably. I'm gonna Google it
that,
right now.
Yeah, why don't you look at Gloom of Killforth?
Yeah, a more,
which is a terrible name for a game, but
actually, I think it's kind of a cool name. But
I mean, I don't know, the Killforth gets me a little bit.
Maybe not that. That's super like realistic now.
Like
Mhm.
the problem you are is okay, like certainly the art style of Keyforge can turn some people off. And as discussed in our Discord, the art style of Flash in the Pan turns some people off.
Sure.
And the modern Pokemon cards with the crappy digital artwork turns off people. Like it doesn't matter what art style you pick. Some people will like it. Some people will not like it. So changing your art to try to draw or lose people, I think is not and especially in a game like this where the IP is not linked to something else.
Right.
Is a waste of your time totally. Like, it's not like it's a Star Wars game and people are going to buy the cards just because they want a cool picture of Han Solo or something, right? Like, nobody, people who care about the art in Keyforge are already here because Keyforge, the game or the setting, works for them in some way. I mean, like, I just don't see where getting uppity about the art will ever make a huge difference. If they had picked a different art style, maybe there's 10% of the crowd that plays that would be different because some people went, oh, that is my art style. And a few other people went, oh, I'm not going to play that game because of the art. And then there are a lot of people who seriously play the game who didn't even care what the art was ever. Like, I didn't see a single art card before I bought this game. Right? And I still don't really care about the art. And I never will. I don't think. I think over investing your time and thought in the art doesn't build the game. It's just not. It doesn't add enough to the game to make it be worth that much time investment. Like they picked an art style. What are they? Like. You pick any other art style and you'll lose some people and maybe gain some other, but there isn't like an art style that's gonna be like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna get 100,000 people, right? More because of this art style.
Well, I mean, but if you do pick an art style that people perceive as being, a little more childish, don't you think that's going to not push them away? I mean, I'm not saying go crazy.
Well,
I'm not saying doom, gut and blood, gore, a horror game. Put naked bodies on there. That's not what I'm saying.
But you don't think there are people who play Keyforge because they like the art that's in it?
Maybe, sure. I mean, there probably absolutely is.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, just because some people say they don't like this art and they would like a different art better, doesn't mean there's not an equal number of people who are on the opposite thing and said, well, this art is right and the other art isn't what I want to do, right? Like, art is way too freaking subjective to be used in a meaningful way, in my opinion. Like, it's just you can't have a winning argument when you start discussing art. There isn't a correct style. There isn't an incorrect style. Each thing is going to have its own people who want it and other people who don't. So, like, they had to go with something super neutral and like, and maybe a surprise in some ways for FFG versus several of their other games. It seems they went very lighthearted, maybe because Netrunner and some of the other games were far more hard-edge realistic stuff. So they were intentionally picking art style that picked up on a group of people that weren't into what they had done in the past, which, I would say would be more the realistic or hard fantasy instead of fun fantasy. Like the stuff that's in L5R is hard fantasy, where the fantasy cards in this are fun fantasy.
Yeah. The fun fantasy does I think capture it. Ketzer did say, well, prefaces with, I do not have an art degree, which I'm sure Dr. Sheep does, but the rest of us don't.
Oh yes, right? I have a PhD in art.
Yeah, clearly Sheep has a PhD. He has a PhD in whatever we need to have.
No, I have a PhD in fart, but it rhymes, so it counts.
Old fart.
It's got all the letters.
Old fart is what it is.
The
yeah.
He says he does have an art degree.
I do. Oh, I can't read properly.
I
so
do
as
have
an art degree. So we should. So Dr. Sheep, move over. So
Dr. Ketzer's coming to town.
Exactly. So more of a comic or pop style for Keyforge, where Magic has fantasy realism and Yu-Gi-Oh has anime, maybe even like pop fantasy.
I could say it's a pop
fantasy.
style.
Yeah.
I actually that word fits it almost perfectly. It's more of a pop style.
Yeah, he says they say the art of Keyforge is good at getting across its lighthearted nature, similar to the community. Also has much variety to show the diversity of the Crucible. Right. Then lists a few different cards that are, some of the Dysania, Anguish, plenty of others that are gross and edgy, but with bright colors. Right. So it's approachable in Keyforge, potentially versus some more realism.
So because the Crucible can be everything and nothing and whatever, and things just get dumped in there, they do have a poor choice in the future to do totally different art styles and new sets. They'd be like, oh no, this part of the universe is all in 8-bit or in cell shade or whatever art style they want to do, right? They just be like,
true.
Hey, this, you know what? You come over here and bam, like the straight edge amber has turned everything into line art. Also, our budget got cut by 90%. So, stick figures, or they hired Sheep, and we got clip art and paint, baby. It's gonna.
I think that's a genius idea. Like if they had a set or they had a house that was like a wildly different art style, and like there was some strange Crucible reason.
Jarring.
For set 12, you're gonna need something, right?
No, when
guys, we need to actually get set 6.
We're not looking forward to the wave synth set 12.
Whatever, man. When they do Coda Reloaded, and then they can do everything in a new art style.
They're gonna have some weird Masters set like Magic does, where. Never mind.
Yep.
I don't know. It was just
all legacy set. We didn't actually print any new cards. It's just a bunch of random legacies stuck together.
It was something that was talked about.
As long as it excluded all Dark Tidings,
isn't that what Unchained is? Isn't that exactly what Unchained is?
I don't know.
And I played the hell out of it and enjoyed it.
Because Unchained, they took out all the Tide cards.
Unchained best set.
Unchained, I could get behind Unchained best set. I mean, none of my Unchained decks were any good at all, but
I still have sealed Unchained decks.
Yeah, my Unchained decks weren't unchained enough. I didn't feel like any of my decks went wild and out like crazy, which is what I was hoping for.
See anything too crazy?
I was hoping for some more craziness. Like, give me that Battlefleet Genka Key Abduction deck, and let me just go ham.
They got that feedback. Like they definitely took the feedback that Unchained could be more Unchained.
It could be a little more Unchained.
Okay, what else we have to talk about? Because art, I don't like art.
I know you don't like art. It was just something that I brought to the table.
This would be like saying there's mandatory music.
There's mandatory music.
And then you play music, and I hate it.
Get out your recorders.
I just spaced out through that whole segment. So, what's next?
I finished uploading my 8 WoW decks. I'm ready for Saturday.
I played a Keyforge game.
Z played a Keyforge game.
Good for you. But Draz, you got to spend some time with ABR Joe. How was that experience out in CA?
Well, yeah, so I went out to California to visit my sister who lives out that way, and she just so happens to live about 15 minutes from where Joe lives for the next 2 weeks.
Joe LaPasta?
Moving. No. ABR Joe.
Oh, okay.
ABR Joe.
And so we just met up at we met up at actually at a coffee shop and just jammed some games, some WoW games in person. Had a good time and hung out and took a little picture of ourselves playing the game and threw that up on the ABR Discord. At which point, Mark cuts out for this picture some weird looking guy with crazy curly hair in the background, like staring at us. And so I have weird curly hair.
Yes, you do.
So I was like, it's my future self. And then they created this help for future self with this crazy guy version of me, which I thought was hilarious. So it made me laugh. And it's fun to just go and hang out, and when you're visiting someplace, go and meet a Keyforge friend. Meet up with a Keyforge friend and jam some games.
All right. Most importantly, though, did you bring back with you NY More? Did that deck find its way into your stuff as you were exiting?
No, I just make off with it.
Yes.
It was a heist.
We only played WoW decks. We did not play any fire. It was actually, we just played from Joe had some WoW decks that he had not played yet, and so that he had put through the Z tool, right, the Z score tool.
Yep.
Which you can get over at patreon.com/Archons Corner. For as little as $1 a month, you too can get your Z scores for your WoW decks.
So he wanted to play them because he had 2 that had real good scores and 2 that did not, and it was fun. So we played them and then we mixed it up. And
did the Z score give good results? Did that happen?
Yeah, so the 2 decks with the high Z score were definitely good. The one of them with the lower score, we actually thought was still reasonable. The fourth one, it wasn't a bad deck. It had trouble. It would sputter out, right? It would get going, but then you'd clear the board or something, and then it just couldn't get momentum again. Yeah, so yeah. So I think now Joe's gonna be listening to this and be like, "You're remembering this wrong," but I think we said we thought that maybe the second highest Z score deck was actually a little better than the highest Z score deck. But I don't remember what the numbers were and how different they were. But they were both they were fun games. We had a really good time playing them.
Very cool.
All right, let's get to some more OP news from Board Game Crunch, your new Vault Tour event leaders. I mean, definitely not running.
Yeah, definitely not Vault Tours now.
Definitely not Vault Tours, but I don't really know what this is. So so Arthur had put something up. Was it on their website or on the Facebook page?
This is on the. I think this is all from the Board Crunch Facebook page.
But earlier last week, it was put up that there would be a Vault Tour at Origins, and that was like almost immediately taken down.
Yeah, it was there for about 30 minutes, a link from our server, long enough for me to share with our team and some of my locals. And then by the time I went back to check it, it was gone.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
So it was like Vault Tour 1 Origins, and then it was just all of a sudden it went poof and disappeared. So I guess book your tickets for Origins, maybe? Probably. So
yeah, I need to know actual dates though, right? Like I need to know when the events are, because like Origins is long. It's like 5 days.
I thought it was the same as Gen Con, 4 days, but it could be.
No,
5.
like when I looked it up, I think Origins is like
through
midweek all the way through Sunday.
Yeah.
What are you running out of? PTO days?
No, that's summer for me. But like, I mean, it's
so what's
Ohio,
the big deal?
right?
You can go get some Skyline chili.
It's the 21st through the 25th.
Yeah. So, worst case scenario, you go play some board games.
I mean, you gonna be there?
No.
Well, maybe it'd be worth it if you were there.
Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do. Probably not, but okay. But what is this? Who put this in here? Is this from you, Mr. Z?
I did not paste anything in today.
Was that Choke Show?
I put all the board crunch stuff in
so
here.
Tell me what this is.
Well, so we have a bunch of links, right? So there's Board Crunch is, which I spelled wrong, Board Crunch is.
Now it's convention events.
So they're running a bunch of different Vault Tour or convention events or whatever, right? So There's not a lot of info yet, but definitely on the Discord, if you join it, there's definitely a tag you can get Vault Tour news. So Vault Tour news is going to be
very interesting. Yeah, because I don't know if this is here before, but yeah, on Board Game Crunch now, he does have a Vault Tour tab. And it says U.S. Keyforge Vault Tours and then the international ones, but they're all TBA. Wink.
Sure. So the Board Crunch website, like boardcrunch.com. There's also the Keyforge community, so facebook.com/group/Keyforge community that he has, where he, as we mentioned before, strongly hinted that this will be at Origins.
No.
He also has on
he
there.
Screwed up.
What's that?
He didn't strongly hint. He screwed up. Just call it what it is.
Whatever.
He hit publish. He didn't mean to. We've all been there.
Maybe.
No.
What's also interesting is he did put out a little poll. Now, I'm not sure how many people actually did this poll, but hey, what format are you looking forward to playing at Vault Tours this year? And so the options are, right, the 4 from KFC.
Are you looking at the live vote?
No. I'm looking at copy paste. Should I go? I see I closed. No, I still have it open.
You used to have it pinned.
I don't like having Facebook open for much.
How little is the vote for Alliance?
11. There are 110 votes.
11 people want to play it.
Archon Alliance.
That's still 10% of these people. 10% is a percentage of. I mean, it's not insignificant of our community.
It's not a very.
When we are this small,
yeah, 10% is insignificant.
Okay. No, it's not.
No, so they have only 4 for the U.S., right? For Vault Tours. So do you think we can get like Tijuana and Toronto as internationals?
How about Vancouver?
And Vancouver. There you go.
I think Canada
Montreal
deserves one. They've had a pretty loyal base, but France should get one. Italy should get one. I don't even know how to get to 6 right now. 6 is real hard for me to come up with international active communities.
Didn't they have one in Madrid?
They did prior to when we were big,
right?
But if you follow communities that stayed in the game, we have some data from Decks of Keyforge, so we know Italy is active, we know France is active, we know
Germany.
The Nordic the Nordics and the Germans are still active.
If we go by our podcast analytics, the 3 that you just said are big, plus Canada.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Canada was my 5th one in the end.
Technically, because they're in. I guess you could do 2 in Canada because Canada's so big. You could do 1 on each coast, probably.
Yeah, you would there's no drawing a big population if you hit the center of Canada. You'd have to go coast.
Right. Yeah, you'd probably put 1 on each coast. I would assume. So if you go Germany, Italy, France, Canada.
I mean,
Mexico?
I can play a round trip to Montreal for $300. Let's go.
You got your passport?
Do it.
Hell yeah.
Mexico is no. There's
no Mexico.
No.
That's why I said Tijuana.
Oh, don't forget you got the Philippines and the Asian markets too.
Yeah.
I mean, the next one would actually be Hong Kong. It's just logistics of whether they could find someone to run it, right? That would be the hard thing.
ORD
because the Philippines still has a huge player base.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Hong Kong's $1,000 round trip. So
no go to Hong Kong.
I'm gonna need some financial support to make that one happen.
We'll start you a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
send sheep to Hong Kong.
Send AC to Hong Kong.
So if you do the Pacific,
we'll run the event there. They just got to speak English.
Oh no, we will not.
So if you do the Pacific, okay, so you got 3 in Middle Europe. You do 1 kind of in the Pacific, to be determined, and then you do 2 in Canada.
Yeah, that would be
I don't know if Europe needs 3. I mean, they're all kind of real close together. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter.
I mean, Europe has more people than we do,
This
so
is true.
three sounds good.
Okay.
That's still less than us. We have more players though, but still, 3's probably a good number.
You know, it's weird because we have more listeners overseas than we do at our own in the States. Not much, but it's like 52%, 48%.
Maybe they get better localized ads.
Well, you
but
know,
you're comparing one country versus the whole world, right?
well, yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's not.
Well, no, I'm comparing our country versus Europe.
Gosh.
Just
Okay.
Europe, not the rest.
Mm.
Well, I have NordVPN bounce my traffic through 17 different countries.
Oh, do you? You listen to the show 3,000 times?
I mean, this show advertised that I should buy NordVPN, so why not
So
go
you
for
did?
it, right?
Where's our cut?
Yeah.
Shoot, I told you guys we should start doing those NordVPN commercials. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
I was just learning about today because it's how you watch Formula One for cheap.
To be
Means you
clear,
need a VPN.
I also don't want to know. That wasn't a.
all right.
I
Let's get back to
nothing.
Arthur and Joe LaPasta.
All right, what do we got?
What do you got, Choke Show? What's this all about here?
Oh, that's just where he mentions Origins.
Mm.
That's what that one was.
We didn't finish the poll. Which one's winning? Like, let's make sure
Which
No,
one?
I don't care. You again are trying to sway the facts to be meaningful.
Well-
I just want them to support my story.
I know.
So right
like-
now the leader is Sealed Alliance, followed up
Yeah.
by Archon
Makes me
Standard.
sad.
So, Sealed Alliance, which is an alliance format sheet, is winning overall. as the
Sealed
most
Alliance is
popular
kind of
show.
Alliance light, really. I mean,
Yes, and it's because people haven't had enough experience with it.
I could take
Yeah.
my vote away from Sealed Alliance and see what happens.
You
That
could-
doesn't-
I mean,
It's the
my
lucky
vote
spot.
is my 2 votes were Archon Standard and Sealed Alliance. Those are my preferred moves of play.
I said Sealed Standard and Sealed Alliance. Sealed Alliance. Those are my 2 choices.
You just want to play 2 sealed events.
I don't have a deck to compete in Archon Standard, so what's the point?
That is fair. I picked Archon Standard and I think Sealed Standard. Yep.
Sealed Standard is what I picked.
I mean, I would
And
prefer it go to
Standard.
back to 3 deck, but I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, I don't want
But
Sealed
they
Standard
already
one
said
deck.
the tournament runner chooses that. Like that, they answered
They
that
did.
while we were going through.
Hell with that. Tournament runner in the future, I want to run 12 deck sealed. Man, sell everybody a box and actually make some stinking money.
Get a display. Yeah, now we're talking. Everybody's got to buy it.
It's $100 entry or whatever, right? Or $120. You get a box, pick a deck. You got 20 minutes to figure it out. You're gonna have to open backs like X-ray.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to open you got how long? 20 minutes to pick a deck
20 minutes to go through 12 decks.
out of 12.
So, guys, we should give them more decks in less time. You've got 12 minutes. You can open 12 decks. And then you pick one.
Just go.
Here's 12 minutes. You can open as many decks as you can. It's $8 a deck. And you just go. Once you picked your deck,
like
we'll
it.
figure out how many you opened, and that's how much you pay.
And then you can stop. I actually like that. Like I actually like that. Just be like, Brobnar, nope, Brobnar, nope, Brobnar, nope. Oh wait, no, this is but it won't be woe, so it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I like that. But so Joel writes, Arthur writes to Joel LaPasta. Not sure I read anything about Store Champs, but I think you should stay tuned next week for some updates. Wink, nudge, kick in the shin. Ever been to Origins Game Fair? You should check it out.
Do you know what it is? Like more than a week since then.
Has it been a week?
Now it's 2
since then?
days. 2 days since that post.
Oh, it was only 2 days since that post.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
that
not
was
a week
the
since that
response.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all from this week. I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, this is all.
I'll say there was 0 news posts this week.
Not yet.
There was
other than stuff
Friday's-
from Arthur.
Friday's tomorrow. So they stopped releasing things on Thursdays for whatever reason. I'm not calling anybody out or pointing out any elbows, but
has nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Wookie said he's not going. Sheep, you going to go to Origin? Assuming there's the vault there.
Assuming there is a vault tour in a format I want to play in, yes.
We know all of the formats. These are the
We don't know diddly squat.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if the vault tour is going to be a single format or all 4 formats.
That's true. We know it would be one of these. Oh yeah, I could see a scenario where Sheep is like, "F my life" if they announce Archon Alliance and Sealed Alliance for Origin. And he's just like, whatever.
I was gonna say if it's Archon Alliance, Sheep ain't gonna go.
I'll play Sealed Alliance if I have to, because I can just choose not to alliance the decks and be a decent human.
Decent. You should wear a tag. Decent human.
Well, like seriously,
just give them out.
No, it'll say decent Archon.
Yeah, did you
if
not
the
mix your
two
decks?
main events, Sheep, were Archon Alliance and Sealed Alliance, you would still go out there for the one of the two events?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good feedback. I mean, in Origins is
Origins
fairly close to Udrascore. Like that's not. Is that drivable?
You said it was like a 16-hour
Origins is
drive.
drivable. Yeah.
Origins is drivable for me too. So
y'all suck. It's flyable for me, and I would be flying.
You're the one who
you live in
chooses to live in a
Texas.
state where there's nothing drivable. You can't even drive to other things in your state.
Can you even drive to your local grocery store? Or you got to fly in.
Yeah, we actually have like that parachuted in.
Oh, you got to get airdropped, huh? Got it.
Yeah, it's airdrop.
It's a real bitch getting the groceries back to the house.
Yep. Yes,
7 hours to
we actually
Columbus.
catapult my son to his school and back from school. It's this whole thing.
You Nitapult him?
Yes,
Is the interplay ready?
Nitapult.
No, he's a high school student. Never won.
He's not sanctioned yet?
No,
he's a frost giant.
He is always exhausted.
Yep, he is a frost giant.
Oh, totally worth it. But that's gonna do it for us this week, guys. You guys got anything else you want to go over? I got topic for next week that both y'all are gonna bitch at anyway. So
super.
When I say both y'all, I mean Z.
Are we gonna do?
Oh shoot! I'm at a conference next week.
Do you remember that time when you pitched us this like house swapping idea?
Yeah, and now
we're just kind of like staring at you over the internet.
Yeah,
like,
and now it's. Well, you want to hear a weirder story? It's now legal in the format.
You it was a bad idea then, and it's a bad idea now.
I think Sheep did say it was a bad idea. I literally said nothing.
Yeah, you said nothing. Elok said nothing. And then you're like, I don't think that's going to work. And now all of a sudden, it is a format in Keyforge.
I don't think I said it didn't work. I said it's a bad idea.
I think you said it wasn't Keyforge or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is definitely the thing I would say.
You said the same thing you did back then.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hey, consistency is something.
I need to have agency in how I play my games.
I don't even know what that means anymore.
I need
how
to
much
have
more agency? You get to pick which cards you play. How much more agency do you need?
I need full deck building.
Then go play with the other people.
The other people? What game should I choose?
Other people.
Disney wants your money.
Disney wants your money.
What's sad is Disney's going to get my money.
I think you should go play Digimon.
No, I still have those decks around here somewhere, which is crazy.
Or there was.
I think we're spiraling.
We are
some
spiraling.
New card game they were demoing at the store. You could have played that.
What? Oh, that was a collectible pin game.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah.
You could wear your flare, then slap it on the table.
Is this like what was that now? I need at least 3 pieces of flare. Is that Office Space?
Yeah, that's Office Space.
I need at least 3 pieces of flare. You know, I had picked out, if I was going to go to Gen Con, I had picked out all of my Gen Con clothes. I've got a Wookiee robe, Wookiee pants, and a Wookiee shirt. It's going to be sweet. and awkward for the person sitting across from me. Not so much for me. But anyways, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to find us on all the social medias, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Happy forging, everyone.